Hey, I hope you're having a great week this week. This episode today will be a short one, but it's going to be one that I hope feels energizing in a time where maybe you need a little inspiration or motivation in your life. So, in this episode, I want to talk about taking action. A lot of people really struggle to take action in their lives. They feel paralyzed about what to do, what steps to take, and they're really afraid of doing anything for fear of failing, making mistakes, falling down. And I want to remind you of a few things just to level set a little bit and hopefully give you some inspiration so you can make this week productive and a little more joyful. When you are wrestling with your own motivation or inspiration to take action, it's usually a few things that are happening in the background that we're not aware of. So I wanted to take a few minutes to break these down, create some reminders, and maybe help push you into a different course of action this week. So first off, you haven't actually decided to do the thing. You're just hopeful about it. So this one is actually really huge and it's not obvious to people. We think that we have committed to doing something, but really we just take a strong stance of hoping that it will happen. We say to ourselves, man, I really hope this is going to happen. And we don't actually decide that we're going to do it. We don't go all in. We don't actually make the decision or dedicate ourselves to the process. We don't do it. We spend a lot of time wishing and hoping or setting intentions for something to happen, but we don't actually decide to do it. And hoping and deciding, they are two totally different energies. When you're hopeful, you definitely feel the desire for something and you definitely have an intention to do it. And you're feeling pretty optimistic and positive that it will happen, but there's not always the follow through or the action taken that you need to get to where you want to go. Now, on the other hand, deciding to do something means you are taking ownership of that thing and claiming it and making it yours. It's about saying, I'm doing this thing even if it sucks, or even if it's hard, or I make mistakes, or I fail. Do you see the difference between those two things? Hope and decision. I mean, being hopeful is so awesome. I love hope. I like giving people hope. I think it's so important, but it often has us quitting or letting go of the goal before we even hit the first couple of bumps in the road. Because we say to ourselves, oh, I was hoping it would work out, but obviously it wasn't meant to be, or life just got in the way. However, being decisive and dedicated is about saying, yeah, this is a real struggle right now, and I have no idea how I'm going to do this thing, but this is what I committed to doing, so I have to figure it out. There's a boldness and a courage that comes along with deciding that is missing when we are simply hoping. Secondly, the time that it takes to do something is usually less than you think, and it's less than the time that it took for you to decide to actually do the thing. This is what I mean. How many times have we procrastinating doing something because we're afraid of what it might take to get started? It feels overwhelming, right? It might feel like anxiety producing. There's just too many unknowns. It feels hard. But when we start working on it, when we dig in, we realize, oh, this actually doesn't take as much time as I thought it would. And once I start to figure out what I need to do, I can take it in little bite-size increments. It feels much more manageable. This actually isn't that hard. And I wasted a huge amount of time worrying about getting started instead of just getting started. This happens all the time. It's so dumb, guys. I fall into this trap over and over again, especially when it comes to things that are not in my wheelhouse, like learning how to create a podcast by myself or learning the tech and the back end and the software that's required to put everything together for an online course or a virtual onboarding process, for example. Those are things that are not in my wheelhouse that I've had to start on and figure out. And it felt hard to me. I really had moments of dragging my feet because there was so much apprehension about it. And it actually is not that hard. Every time I start and I get into something, I realize within minutes, oh, here are all these solutions right in front of me and they're totally accessible. And like anything, it's just a step-by-step process that you have to take to get to your goal. Now, hopefully I'm going to get better at this as I learn this lesson repeatedly over and over again, but I don't want you to keep falling into the same trap because I know you're doing this too. I know that you're probably dragging your feet on starting some things because you feel like they're going to be hard. the reality is it's way easier than you think it's going to be. You're probably wasting a lot more time trying to get motivated than it actually is required to do the task. So get going on it. And then finally, remember this: action beats anxiety almost every time. I don't think we can ever really escape the apprehension or the anxiety that comes along with doing something new or doing something that we perceive to be hard. That is just going to be there. But what never fails me is that action always beats anxiety, meaning every time I start to take even the smallest bit of action, my anxiety and my apprehension starts to fade away. This makes sense to you, I'm sure, because action creates momentum and motion. It gives us forward energy, and it starts to ease the scariness of the unknown because we're starting to figure things out along the way. So whenever you're feeling stuck in the scariness or swirling around in the anxiety of starting something, remember, action beats anxiety every single time. Okay, team, that's all for today. I hope this feels helpful. I hope you remember that you are capable of taking incredible action in your life. If you want to be a person of impact, and I know you do, you have to be somebody who does take consistent action, whether the motivation is there or not, because it's really not about motivation. Motivation comes and goes. It's about having a vision and being committed to it and remembering that you have an influence whether you like it or not. So you might as well make it powerful. Thanks for being here today. Have a great week. And as always, thanks for being ready to impact. Thanks for listening to Impact Ready. I hope today's episode inspired you to own your impact and recognize that you are powerful. By elevating our energy and awareness, we can create exponential change in this life. If you enjoyed today's insights, share them with a friend and subscribe to the show for more. I truly appreciate you. Thanks again for being here.